They are texting you back quickly. The conversations feel easy. They made plans and they actually showed up. You start to let yourself breathe. You think, maybe this is finally different. Maybe this one is safe. And then they disappear. Not with an explanation, not with a fight you can point to. Just a slow, quiet withdrawal, shorter messages, a little more distance, a little less warmth. And you are left sitting there replaying every moment, wondering what you did wrong. You did not do anything wrong. That is exactly the point. Here is what makes this so difficult to understand. They pursue you when you are distant. They are warm, attentive, and present when things feel uncertain. But the moment the relationship starts to feel real, the moment genuine closeness begins, they pull back. You want consistency. They seem to want it too. But every time you get close to having it, something shifts. And the cruelest part is that the pulling away does not happen when things are difficult. It happens when things are going well, when you are finally happy, when you finally feel safe. And that makes you wonder, is the problem the relationship or is the problem me? In this video, we are going to look at why avoidants pull away precisely when things are going well, what that withdrawal is actually protecting them from, and what you can do when you find yourself in this pattern, whether you are the one being pulled away from or the one doing the pulling. This behavior has a name. It is called avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment is not cruelty. It is not manipulation, though it can feel like both. It is a nervous system response. It is what happens when a person has learned, usually very early, that closeness is not safe, that depending on someone leads to disappointment, that love, when it arrives too fully, requires something painful in return. So when connection deepens, when someone begins to feel genuinely loved and genuinely seen, their system does not respond with relief. It responds with alarm. There is another piece worth naming here. Intimacy tolerance. Every person has an internal ceiling for how much closeness they can hold before discomfort sets in. For someone with avoidant patterns, that ceiling is low, not because they do not want love, but because love has historically cost them their sense of independence, identity, or safety. This is not a character flaw. It is a learned survival strategy. For many avoidants, early life taught them that emotional needs were either ignored or met with frustration. Perhaps the people around them were physically present but emotionally unavailable. Perhaps expressing vulnerability led to rejection, ridicule, or being labeled as too sensitive. Perhaps love in their home was conditional, something granted when they performed well and withdrawn when they needed too much. What a child learns from this is powerful. I am safer alone. I can manage my own feelings. I do not need others to be okay. That lesson protected them then. As adults, it becomes the very thing that prevents real intimacy. So when a relationship begins to feel warm, safe, and reciprocal, it does not feel like arrival. It feels like exposure. And exposure for the avoidant nervous system is threatening. Here is the part that most people miss. The withdrawal is not random. It is serving a purpose. Pulling away before things get too deep protects the avoidant from having to depend on someone who might eventually leave or disappoint them. It protects their sense of independence, the thing their nervous system learned to rely on when people were not available. And it creates just enough distance to make the relationship feel manageable again. Distance is regulation for the avoidant. This is important to understand. They are not withdrawing because they do not care. They are withdrawing because caring has become overwhelming. The closeness triggered something old and frightening, and the only way their system knows to find safety is to create space. The pattern continues not because they want to hurt you. It continues because part of them believes the distance is keeping both of you safe. This may look familiar to you. It may look like someone who was fully present for weeks, then started taking hours to reply when nothing difficult happened between you. It may look like them suddenly becoming busy right after a meaningful conversation or a moment of genuine vulnerability. It may look like them deflecting when you try to go deeper, changing the subject, making a joke, or physically leaving the room. It may also look like subtle criticism appearing after a period of closeness, as though they are unconsciously creating a reason to feel less warm toward you. Or a sudden focus on the relationship's impracticalities, the distance, the timing, the differences, when a week ago none of that seemed to matter. And it may look like you, anxiously scanning for what changed, trying harder to be easier, more fun, less needy, attempting to bring back the version of them that felt close. Imagine Sola and Daniel had been seeing each other for 2 months. The first month was uncertain. Daniel ran a little hot and cold, and Sola found herself working to understand him. Then things shifted. Daniel opened up. He started making plans. He told Sola things he said he had never told anyone. Sola let herself feel hopeful. Then, 3 days after their best night together, Daniel went quiet. Sola waited. She told herself he was busy. She sent a light message. He replied, but it was brief. The warmth was gone. She started reviewing everything she said that night, searching for the moment she got it wrong. But Daniel was not punishing her. He was overwhelmed. That night had felt too real, too close, and his nervous system, trained from years of learning that closeness eventually leads to loss of self, had quietly pulled the emergency brake. The connection was not the problem. For Daniel, it was the trigger. There is something worth separating here. Chemistry can tell you that you feel something. It cannot tell you whether what you feel is genuine connection or whether it is the familiar tension of someone who is not fully available. For many people who repeatedly find themselves drawn to avoidant partners, there is often an anxious attachment pattern on their own side, a nervous system that interprets emotional uncertainty as excitement and stability as flatness. The highs feel higher because the uncertainty makes every moment of closeness feel like something that had to be earned. Chemistry asks how strongly you feel. Compatibility asks how well you function together. Emotional safety asks whether you can stay open without bracing for the next withdrawal. If you are on the outside of this pattern, here is a more grounded way to move through it. First, notice. When the distance arrives, observe what happens in your body. Is there panic? A rush to fix or reach? That reaction tells you something about your own pattern, not just theirs. Then name it. Ask yourself honestly, am I responding to this person or am I responding to the fear that their withdrawal is activating in me? Those are two different things, and they require two different responses. Then pause. Before you send the message, make the call, or shrink yourself to feel safer to them. Pause. Let the discomfort exist for a moment without immediately trying to resolve it. This is not easy. But the automatic response to their distance is often the thing that deepens the cycle. Then choose. Make one decision from your values, not from your anxiety. That might be having a direct, calm conversation about what you are experiencing. It might be choosing to observe their patterns over time, rather than their potential. It might be recognizing that someone who consistently retreats when love becomes real is not yet able to offer you the relationship you are genuinely available for. Before you move on, sit with these questions. What do I do when someone I care about pulls away? And does that response usually bring them closer or push things further from clarity? Have I ever confused someone's unavailability for depth? What would I do differently if I truly believed that a person who wanted to be with me would not require me to earn them? This week, try this. Write down the last time closeness was followed by distance. Describe what was happening in the days just before the withdrawal. What had been shared? What had opened up? What felt real? Then ask, what might that closeness have threatened? You are not trying to excuse the behavior. You are trying to understand the pattern clearly enough to stop being surprised by it and eventually to stop organizing your life around it. The avoidant does not pull away because things are going badly. They pull away because things are going well. And well feels dangerous when you have spent your life learning that closeness eventually costs you something you cannot afford to lose. Understanding this does not mean you wait indefinitely. It does not mean you make yourself smaller or more convenient. It means you stop taking the distance personally and start asking the more honest question, is this person right now able to meet me where I am? Intensity is not the same as intimacy. And love should not require you to keep proving that you are safe to stay near. Have you experienced this? Someone who was all the way in, and then quietly stepped back the moment things got real? Share what that looked like for you in the comments. Someone reading it right now might finally understand what they have been living through. Subscribe to the Love Patterns for clear, honest explanations of why we love the way we do, and how to begin choosing differently.